Tuesday, January 30, Where is God? Read Psalm 42, 1-3, Psalm 63, verse 1, Psalm 69, 1-3, and Psalm 102, verses 1-7. What causes great pain to the psalmist? Psalm 42, beginning at verse 1. As the deer pants for the water brooks, so pants my soul for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? My tears have been my food day and night, while they continually say to me, Where is your God? And Psalm 63, verse 1, O God, you are my God. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you, in a dry and thirsty land where there is no water. And Psalm 69, beginning at verse 1, Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. I sink in deep mire, where there is no standing. I have come into deep waters where the floods overflow me. I am weary with my crying. My throat is dry. My eyes fail while I wait for my God. And Psalm 102, beginning at verse 1, Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come to you. Do not hide your face from me in the day of my trouble. Incline your ear to me in the day that I call. Answer me speedily. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned like a hearth. My heart is stricken and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. Because of the sound of my groaning, my bones cling to my skin. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I lie awake and am like a sparrow alone on the housetop. Not only does personal and communal sufferings trouble the psalmist, but also, if not more, God's seeming lack of attention to his servant's hardships. God's absence is felt like intense thirst in a dry land, we read in verses 1-3 of Psalm 42 and verse 1 of Psalm 63, and mortal anguish we read about in Psalm 102. The psalmist feels removed from God and compares himself to lonely birds. I am like a pelican of the wilderness. I am like an owl of the desert. I lie awake and am like a sparrow alone on the housetop in Psalm 102, verses 6 and 7. The mention of wilderness highlights the sense of isolation from God. A bird alone on a housetop is outside of its nest, its resting place. The psalmist cries to God out of the depths, as if being engulfed by mighty waters and sinking into a deep mire in Psalm 69, verses 1-3. And then in Psalm 130, verse 1, Out of the depths I have cried to you, O Lord. These images depict an oppressive situation from which there is no escape except by divine intervention. Read Psalm 10:12, Psalm 22:1, Psalm 27:9, and Psalm 39:12. How does the psalmist respond to God's apparent absence? Psalm 10, verse 12, Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand, do not forget the humble. And Psalm 22, verse 1, my God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me and from the words of my groaning? And Psalm 27, verse 9, Do not hide your face from me, do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not leave me nor forsake me, O God of my salvation. And Psalm 39, verse 12. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear to my cry. Do not be silent at my tears, for I am a stranger with you, a sojourner, as all my fathers were. It is remarkable that the psalmist resolved not to keep silence in the face of God's silence. The psalmist unswervingly believes in prayer because prayer is directed to the living and gracious God. God is still there, even when he is apparently absent. He is still the same God who heard them in the past, and so they are confident that he hears them now. The occasions of God's silence cause the psalmist to examine themselves and to seek God, but with confession and humble petitions. They know that God will not remain silent forever. The Psalms demonstrate that communication with God must go on, regardless of life's circumstances. And so to finish today, what can we learn from the psalmist's responses to God's apparent absence? And how do you respond to times when God does seem silent? What sustains your faith? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.